is the Victory Moment with CK. Join the show as we chat victory in the midst of the uncertainty in life, because each day can be a victory moment if you don't quit, if you don't give up, and if you don't let go. Thank you for joining me on the Victory Moment with CK. Listen, I'm excited to be here this afternoon. And I am just excited once again to be here this afternoon as I come before you on this new day and all of that with excitement. Listen. We are going to talk today about access. And I want to talk about three thoughts of access. And it's important that we really understand what access is. So, as I talk about it today, come and join me as we talk access. Listen, once again, let's chat as you can really be interesting. But I thank you today for joining me and connecting with me today as we talk access today. As we talk access today, listen, if you don't know who I am and this is your first time checking out my channel and so forth, I am Carmen King. I am CK, and I am your host of this amazing show. And I thank you so much for joining me today as we talk again access. And it's it's interesting that when I was dealing with this when I was working on it, it really interests me because what is access? Let's talk about that. What is access? And access is approaching or making use of something or the ability to do something. And that is what access is. Sometimes the word is applied to a person, and sometimes it's applied to a situation or circumstance. Like there are times when there are restrictions to the beach, to a particular location and all of those things. But I want to talk about three types of access when it comes to you personally. I want to talk about mandatory access. Who gets mandatory access? I want to talk about who gets what we talk discretionary access. And I want to talk about the rule-based access. And the reason I want to talk about these three thoughts is because it makes a difference in our lives, and it can create either havoc or it can create stability in what we do in our lives. And everyone, and I know this can get very touchy, because everyone cannot be allowed access. They just cannot be allowed access. Access is very sensitive. Access, and once you open up a door or you give access, that means, depending on the three that I was talking about, you can literally be giving someone access to personal things, access to things that once you open it up, that the person is able, it makes you vulnerable to that person. And the reason why I'm talking about this is because we have to have balance in our lives in order to have victory when it comes to access. That doesn't mean, you're nervous or afraid. And sometimes, even in a relationship, we're afraid to give that full access, which is that mandatory access, which is that access that you have to give that person that you're connecting to, because in that type of relationship, because it is very serious when it comes to that type of access. So when you're giving that person access, you have to understand and be aware that you cannot give everyone that access. So when it comes to mandatory access, that is definitely, you can't block your family from access. And when I say that, you balance that. You can't block your husband or your significant other from full access, because that's a problem and that will hinder the relationship. So when we talk about mandatory, that means that's that full access of knowing who you are, where you live, and all those other things. And when you start to understand these balances, you'll understand the victory. You'll understand that that your relationship will be better because you balance it in that perspective. So access cannot be denied to the people that are relative and close knit in your lives. That's called mandatory access. Your children have to have mandatory access. You can't hinder them from coming and loving on you and coming and knowing about you, because that's how you're going to make things work out. But then we have that discretionary access. Discretionary access means that you are taking, that balance. That may be your job. That may be, that may be your job. That may be, your business, because everybody cannot have access. When it comes to discretionary, that means there are people that will have certain access, and you have to know how to do that. And we're talking about, how do we continue and complete when it comes to access? How do we win? And you win because you understand the mandatory access. You understand the discretionary access control, we call it. That means that there's a discretion in who you're allowing in a particular circumstance, whether it be your business, whether it be at your job. And these are things, and again, that mandatory access is so important, because that's that caring about your sisters, your brothers. Those are the mandatory access control. That means that no matter what, you give them that access, because that's how you're going to be able to deal with the everyday things of your life, though, because those are the people that are in your life daily and consistently. When you talk about now the rule-based access, that means that you may have a client and you put rules in place. You may be a part of a group. You put rules in place. Time that you are accessible, time that you are not accessible. No, don't call me 3 o'clock in the morning. But that is what you normally would happen. And these are the things that we have to be aware of. Access. And you don't want to imbalance access, because it creates unbalance in your lives. But know that when you have that control of the mandatory and discretionary, and you have that rule-based access, you'll find out that it's so much easier to deal and balance your life, because everyone cannot have access to everything. Be aware when we talk about rules, be aware of what you're sharing on social media. Be aware of how you're sharing on social media, because someone was sharing it today or said it today. You don't have to tell everybody every place you're going, all that you're doing, everything that you know. It's called balancing, and not just doing any and everything for everyone to know and see. Your home address should not be given to everybody. Your personal number shouldn't be given to everybody. And I'm just sharing this because a lot of us, and we know this, but it's just a reiteration. It's just letting people know. Be aware of the access that you're giving others. Part of winning is knowing how to balance. You don't want people that are negative to have access. You don't want people that just are not pleasant in what they do and how they do to have access. But you want those that you can learn from, you can grow from, to have access. So let's understand the mandatory access control. Let's understand the discretionary access control. And let's understand the rule-based access control. When I saw that, as I was doing the search for how I was going to do this and what was really meant for me to share, I realized that it is so important. It's about access. It's about knowing how to allow people. That makes a difference in your life. Because then certain things cannot transpire. People cannot use what you may have made a mistake about against you. People cannot use your family against you. People cannot, some of the celebrities, I watch how they do what they do. And it's so important that they don't allow everybody around their children. They don't allow everybody access to their children because everybody is not in the right mindset to really know how to deal with your children. So be aware of the access. I am so excited to be able to share this with you and come to you about this. This is a victory moment with CK. We are talking about access. And I want to just share and go to a quick commercial, a couple of commercial things I want to share as far as commercial. Listen, there is still time to support the Survive and Thrive. I won't be there physically, but but there's access, that's going to be given virtually. And we're going to talk about it as long as it's clear. And you'll be able to have access. And we share that access virtually. And we're still looking for donors and people that want to help someone survive and thrive. Because it's not, once the chemo and all those other things are over, then there's something more that needs, and the support is needed. And that's what's important right now, that support. And we have to understand and know how to support. And that's what I was talking about with the access. That's part of the access. Knowing how to support. Knowing who to let in, the mandatory, the discretionary, and the rule-based. And if you missed the beginning of this, please, if you're coming on the replay, definitely check this out and understand how important it is to know who to allow, where, and when. Access it should not just be just any and everyone, but knowing how to who to allow, when to allow. Access is so important. So I didn't go on certain social media, but I'm going to still share certain things because I want to build up my my other platforms. I want y'all to go on Roku. Please subscribe and connect with the BHC Media Network. There's something special that's happening, and I'm so excited. I did not expect it, and I'm going to get more clarity about it before I share. But I want you to know you have access to information. You have access for better and greater things. So I'm going to end off like that. So it's up to you to use that access. You don't have to be stuck where you are. And that means that you have to make up your mind of how far you want to go. What is really for you winning when you when you deal with access. I dealt with it in a general sense of, knowing who and why it's important that everyone cannot be in the mandatory access. But there are people that you have to give rules to, which are the rule-based access. Because if you don't, it creates chaos in your life. It can create chaos in your life. And not only that, as if you don't use discretion, then it also can bring problems to your life. Someone say peace. And that's what you want in your life. So let's understand access. So again, I thank you for joining me. I thank you for connecting with me. I thank you for all that all that subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed and you just passed this particular channel, subscribe and see more. I've been sharing some of the fun TikToks I've been doing, and and I'm going to share some more tomorrow, and just in having fun to make the channel. Next week I'm going to do travel, because the holidays is coming up and people need to know how to really function in the holidays when it comes to travel. And that will be my topic next, next broadcast, next broadcast. So let's learn and understand access. So in my next episode, we're going to talk about travels during the holiday season. I'm going to start that early, and we're going to talk about tips and tricks. So, because that's what I do. I am also a travel consultant, and I love helping others to see new adventures and more. But as I close out, keep standing up, keep standing out, keep standing strong, because you have to be in it to win it. And as you can see, that is part of all that I say. And don't forget to connect with us on Roku. Connect with me on Roku. Connect with me on Apple TV and Fire TV. Listen, let's get excited about going to the next. Let's get excited about the access on the other flip side that we have to be great and to be amazing, because yes, you are. Take care, and I see you on the next episode of the Victory Moment with CK.